We're learning the third Sikha on Parshas Toldos in Chelek on page 116. The shir today is being learned to Nishmas, Rabbi Yosef ben Yamin ben Rabbi Menashe Koltman. Bei der Brache, was Yitzchak hat gebencht Yaakovin, wenn hat ihm geschickt, came Padan Aram. In the Brache, in the end of this week's Parsha, when Yitzchak benches his son Yaakov, before he sends him off to Padan Aram, where his father Yitzchak is sending him to go and find a shidduch, to get married to his wives, Leah, Rachel, and so on. So the pasuk here says, Steht im pasuk, V'yiten locha es birkas Avram. Hashem should give you the bracha of my father Avram. Is Rashi maitig die Werte ves birkas Avram? So Rashi quotes from the pasuk these three words, Es birkas Avram. On his mefarish, and he explains, what bracha is this referring to? She'om aloi, Hashem said to Avram, Ve'escha l'goy gadol, and I will make you as a big nation, and v'izbarchu b'zaracha, and that people will bless themselves to be like your descendants. So yiyu oisa bracha is chulu k'd'lekaman siv dalet. So here, this is the bracha that Yitzchak is benching Yaakov, that those brachas will be yours. That's the bracha that Yitzchak gives his son Yaakov at this point. Now, just to point out, this is in addition to the brachas of Yiten L'cha Lekim, Itala Shamayim, the brachas that Yitzchak gave Yaakov already before. Here, this is the brachas that he's giving him before he sends him off to Padan Aram. It's done it verstandig, so what Rashi says, it's not understood. Aleph, number one, the pasuk does Alein Mamshechum Mefarish Vos Birchas Avram is. The pasuk itself here continues and says clearly what the bracha of Avram is that Yitzchak is telling Yaakov that he'll receive. And that is L'rishtocha eseretz mugarecha, that you will inherit this land that you're living in, to inherit Eretz Yisrael. So if so, the question is, Haint Aleph, number one, was darf Rashi bechlal sich abstellen and mefarish sein? Why does Rashi have to even stop on the words as Birchas Avram and explain what it is, if the pasuk already explains? Beis noch mehr. Furthermore, Rashi is going mefarish as mit Birchas Avram wären gemeint andere brachas. And Rashi says that it's referring to different brachas. Nicht die bracha, was steht da, meforischen pasuk. Not the pasuk, not the bracha that it says clearly in the pasuk. Beis, another question here is, Afila oib me'eze tam shiyeh, hot Rashi hechrich, as the pasuk meant noch brachas. Even if, for whatever reason, Rashi has something that's forcing him to say that in the pasuk, when it says V'yiten locha es birkas Avram, it's referring to additional brachas. Von wann is die Reihe, als da seinen dafke die zwei brachas, ve'escha l'goy gadol ve'izbarchu b'zaracha. What is Rashi's proof that it refers specifically to these two brachas, that I will make you as a great nation, and people will bench themselves by your children? And the question on this is even more, even if we take the content of these two brachas that Rashi chooses, the first, that you'll be a great nation. We find in the brachas that the Eibishter benches Avram, where it's expressed with much greater emphasis and with a much more of an abundance. Was the Eibishter hat gesagt zu Avram, and as an example, what we see that Hashem says to Avram, that your children will be like as many as the dust of the earth, and you'll have many descendants like the stars in the sky. So if Rashi wants to bring a bracha regarding this, that bracha will be fulfilled here, the bracha of Avram, that'll be a great nation, why doesn't Rashi bring a pasuk that expresses this much greater and much better? It's difficult to answer and say, as the brachas ka'afara oretz, that to bring specifically this bracha about Yidden being as many as the dust on the earth, or as many as the stars in the sky, it's just a detail. That's just a description of how great the bracha of l'goy gadol as a great nation is. This is the ikir ve'etzem bracha, and that's the primary and the essence of the bracha. When Rashi bringt them klal ve'ikar bracha unit pratim, so therefore Rashi is quoting the main and the general bracha and not the details of the description of the bracha. So it's really one and the same bracha, and v'afara oretz is included in l'goy gadol. That's why Rashi quotes the Ikir, the Sheirish, which is the bracha of L'goy Gadol. So that can't be the case. Weil Aleph says klal nit glatik. It's not smooth to understand it this way. Weil von dem Gufa was die Avtachas v'samti kafara oretz und arbe kechoch ve'ashamayim. Because from the very fact that these promises, that the Yidden will be like the dust of the earth or like the stars in the sky, hat der Rebishter ausgeteilt als besondere brachas. Hashem says this separately, as separate brachas, is muchach as in zeh is da isafel miyachedes of the bracha v'eschel gadol. So it's clear that there is a unique addition in these brachas, even more than just simply saying that Yidden will be as a great nation. On this is moving euch bepashtus. It's self-understood as mit goy gadol kemen meinen euch azar ribui was is kleiner und afel nit verglichen werden to afar aretz adik choch ve'ashamayim. It's understood that when you say goy gadol, a great nation, not necessarily is this great in the number of dust of the earth or stars in the sky, and it can be something much less that can't even be compared to that. So when there's the bracha regarding the descendants of Avram, that it will be that many, of like a Fara Ares and Choch Ve'ashamayim, and here, Birchas Avram, Yitzchak is telling Yaakov that he's going to receive the brachas of Avram regarding his descendants. Why wouldn't he quote this pasuk, which is expressing that bracha to Avram with a much greater abundance? V'oid another main point here that proves that the bracha of Kafar Aretz and Choch Ve'ashamayim is a unique, separate detail in this bracha. Euch bei Yishmael is gesagt geworden, die bracha von Goy Gadol. For Yishmael as well, there's a bracha that the pasuk says that it'll be a great nation. So both Yitzchak, or Avram that is, was benched that he'll be a Goy Gadol, and that could be fulfilled regarding Yitzchak, giving it over to Yaakov, and then it says it also regarding Yishmael. So this is actually an expression that Rashi is bringing that's not unique to a bracha of Avram that's being only given over to Yaakov. So why wouldn't Rashi quote the pasuk of Choch Ve'ashamayim or Afar Haaretz? Und al pizeh yumtak the hechrich von the brachas Kafar Haaretz and Choch Ve'ashamayim. With this we understand better why it was so necessary for the Eibishter to add that the brachas of Goy Gadol, of a great nation, that it's going to be like the dust of the earth or like the stars in the sky, a bracha noisefesim yechedes, an additional unique bracha, well this is nar for bnei Avram, Yitzchak v'Yaakov, because this is what distinguishes this from the bracha of Yishmael, that will also be a Goy Gadol, but not on this level, which is completely different. It's a new level of a bracha to be like a Fara Ares and Choch Ve'ashamayim. So therefore the question here remains, why is Rashi quoting specifically these two brachas? Where is it? What's the proof of this in the context of the pasuk that this is what the brachas are referring to? And why specifically these psukim? The way the bracha is expressed in Goy Gadol and his Baruch B'Zaracha, and not any other brachas where it seems to be expressing these brachas with a much greater abundance. Gimel, another question here is Nachmer Tmiyah. It's even more difficult to understand what Rashi is saying. L'chayre is garda hechrech zu sagen, as the pasuk da meint bedafke nit die zwei brachas. Seemingly, you look in the pasuk, we're forced to say that when it says that he'll have the brachas of Avram, it's specifically not referring to these two brachas. Warum die brachas sind euch gesagt geworden früher zu Yitzchak? Because these very brachas themselves, Hashem says and benches Yitzchak himself. As the pasuk says earlier in our parsha, Hashem says, I will multiply your descendants like the stars in the sky, and all nations will bench their descendants to be like your children. So these are brachas that Yitzchak himself got. So if this is what the bracha of Yitzchak that he's giving over to Yaakov referring to, so why is he relating it back to the brachas that these are the brachas that my father Avram got? If he himself was benched with these brachas, so he can give over these brachas to Yaakov as his own brachas that he got. Says Nachmer Masim Yitzchak sagt, it would be more befitting if Yitzchak would say, as a git Yaakov in the brachas was gufa bekommen. That these very brachas that he himself was benched with, he's now giving over to his son Yaakov. So why would he say it in the name of his father Avram? So seemingly this would force us to say that Birchas Avram is something else. Different brachas, not these brachas that Yitzchak himself received. Okay, so now the Rebbe continues here to explain and to try to answer the first question that Mefarshim addressed. And the first question here was, why would Rashi not stick with what it actually says in the pasuk, that the brachas to Avram was L'rishtacha seres mugarecha, that you will inherit this land? So Benegei Yadem was Rashi lernt as Birchas Avram meint nit Yerushas Haaretz. So that Rashi says that when it says Birchas Avram, it's not referring to the bracha to inherit the land. Zogim Mefarshim. So the commentaries say, As the time the phone is, Val Yerushas Haaretz Matanihi V'loi Bracha, because the inheriting of the land is a gift. It's not a blessing. So as a gift, if it says Berchas Avram that this is a blessing, it cannot be referring to this gift. We can add to this another point. Favas Rashi will not learn as Berchas Avram meant the Hemshech HaKosav L'Rishtcha Aseres Mugarecha. Why is Rashi understanding that when it says Berchas Avram, it's not referring to what it says in the continuation of the pasuk, to inherit the land? While the pasuk Gufa is doch Messiah, because the pasuk here goes on to say Asher Nosan Elokim LaAvram, this that Hashem already gave to Avram, meaning the pasuk is using a term to say it's the Rabbi start showing up given to Avram, that this is something that's a gift that has already been given to Avram. Ubemele is nit masam zu sagen, if so, it doesn't fit to say regarding the beginning of the pasuk that v'yiten l'cha as birchas Avram, that Hashem will give the blessing of Avram. B'shas as eich by Avram is shein da given nit kein bracha eif lahaba nor anesinu b'payel ba'ava. If over here this gift that Hashem gave, this is something that has already been given. It's in the past. So why would the pasuk begin and say v'yiten l'cha that this will now be given as a gift to you if it was already done? So therefore, Rashi says that the beginning of the pasuk, v'yiten l'cha as birchas Avram, must be something separate, and it refers to other brachas that the Eibishter gave Avram. As far as however, this explanation of the commentaries needs to be explained. Just like we can understand when the pasuk says, Hashem promises and benches Avram that you will be a great nation. As das is given Yitzchak's bracha zu Yaakov. This was the bracha that, as Rashi says, that Yitzchak is saying will be fulfilled and will be given over to Yaakov. Now, what does this mean? As di avtache zol neskayim werden by Yaakov v'banav, that this promise will now be fulfilled by Yaakov and his children. So yes, it was a bracha that was already given before, but the actual fulfillment of the bracha will now be by Yaakov and his children. So if so, so why can't we still say similar regarding inheriting the land? Let's stick to the simple pshat of the pasuk, that the bracha is what the pasuk says, and that is to inherit the land. But even though it's already a gift that has been given before, but nevertheless we can say that the fulfillment of it is now. Since in actuality, according to the simple understanding of the psukim, the land noch nit abgegeben geworden zu Avram, the actual land was not yet given to him as a gift. Rather, as Rashi says, the words of Hashem are so powerful that it's as if it's done, but it's only as if. So if so, we can say, is the bracha that now, what's Yitzchak's bracha to his son Yaakov, as der Eibishten's haftachas an his sinne von Eretz Yisrael to Avram, that Hashem's promise of this gift of Eretz Yisrael to Avram by Yaakov and Abanav will now actually be fulfilled with Yaakov and his descendants. They will be the ones that will inherit the land in actuality. So even if this is a gift that's already given, but nevertheless it wasn't fulfilled in actuality, that the children by Avram inherited the land and occupied and possessed the land. It didn't happen by Avram. So therefore we can say that the bracha here is going to be fulfilled by Yaakov and his children, that they will actually possess the land. So why is Rashi not sticking to the simple pshat of the pasuk? That question still remains. Additionally, the Rebbe points out, going back to what was said before, that in the language of the pasuk it begins with v'yiten l'cha as birkas Avram, that Hashem will give. And then in the pasuk afterwards, when it speaks about the inheritance of the land, it says Asher Nosan Elokim LaAvram. That was already given to Avram. So it doesn't fit to say that v'yiten in the future if the pasuk concludes Asher Nosan, that was already given. Now, so on this the Rebbe says, and if what forces us to say that the bracha in the beginning of the pasuk v'yiten l'cha birkas Avram is because it doesn't fit with the continuation of the pasuk. Rashi might given nit nor diverta as birkas Avram. So then Rashi would quote from the pasuk not only these three words as birkas Avram, nor eich the hemshech hakasef. He would bring the continuation of the pasuk if that's the reason to take the pasuk out of the simple pshat. Or Rashi should at least hint to the continuation of the pasuk, that look in the continuation of the pasuk and you'll understand why we have to say that as Birchas Avram is a separate bracha. So from the fact that Rashi does not in any way indicate that he's addressing the continuation of the pasuk, it's understood that Rashi has the reason for what he's saying right here in these three words, es Birchas Avram. What is that reason? Why is Rashi taking the pasuk out of the simple pshat? So to suggest another possible solution for this, and we would say as follows: as mit ve'es chalaga gadol, v'zbarchu b'zaracha, was Rashi bringt with these two brachas that Avram was benched to be a great nation, and the people will bench themselves in his descendants. That Rashi brings, vernet gemein dafke die zwei brachas. Maybe Rashi is not even referring actually only specifically to these two brachas. Nor ze zenen keilel alle brachas was the Rebbe had gebenched Avram. This is actually including all brachas that Hashem benched Avram with. Velachestein Sevishin die zwei, which are written there in all the psukim between these two brachas. Ve'es chalaga gadol is the erste bracha from the Meibishn to Avram. Ve'es chalaga gadol is right at the beginning of Parshas Lech Lecha, the first bracha that Hashem benches Avram. Vizbarchu b'zaracha, and then Vizbarchu b'zaracha is at the end of Parshas Vayera, the letzte, the last bracha that he gets from the Eibishter. And Rashi bringing these two brachas, it's not specifically these two, but it's these two and everything in between. So that would be an answer for the second question that I've asked before, why Rashi is choosing specifically these two brachas. It's not only these two brachas, it's everything in between. Es is aber move on the deichik shebezeh, but it's understood that this is difficult to accept. Aleph number one, Rashi volt gedacht l'chol ha'pachas merame zayin as meint euch alle brachas and sufficient. So Rashi should have hinted somehow that he's quoting the first and last, and he means also all the brachas in the middle. V'oid v'ikir. Additionally, and another main point there is Beis number two. Rashi firteis kidle kaman. Rashi concludes here, as will be quoted shortly. Mimcha yetze oisei agoy. It's from you that this nation will come out, and this blessed descendants will be from you. But the fun is move on as a main dafke die zwei brachas. So from the continuation of Rashi, it's clear that Rashi is quoting these two brachas specifically, and not all the other brachas in between. So therefore, that question also remains: what's unique about these two brachas that Rashi is quoting? It seemingly is not unique. Rashi could have quoted other greater brachas with greater abundance, and as Rabbi explained or asked, that seemingly these two brachas are not even unique to Avram. Yitzchak himself was benched with these same brachas. Here, the Rebbe concludes and brings what Rashi goes on to say. Weiter is Rashi mamshech. Then Rashi continues after he identifies what these two brachas are in the pasuk of Es Birchas Avram, that Yiu Oisan HaBrachas HaMurais B'Shvacha. These brachas are said for your sake. That's what Yitzchak is telling Yaakov. And Mimcha Yetza Isai Agai, so therefore it's from you that this nation will come out, and Ba'isai Hazera HaMavayrech, and this blessed descendants. It's in Ganzen nicht verstandig, so here in the continuation of Rashi, it's completely not understood. Was kitzu di arichas haloshen? What is Rashi adding by this entire elaboration of these words here? It's very simply understood in the pasuk as the brachas ve'eschel gadol v'zbarchu b'zaracha was Rashi bringt als birchas Avram. If Rashi is quoting these two brachas of Avram here in connection to this pasuk, but ziehen sich zu v'yiten lecha liYaakov, that this is meaning that this is what Yitzchak is benching Yaakov when he says v'yiten lecha as birchas Avram, that it will be for you. Why does Rashi have to elaborate and spell out, and this will be fulfilled in you, that the nation will come out from you? That's understood. V'yiten lecha to Yaakov. Now, b'deichik kann man sagen, with difficulty, but you could say, as das was Rashi sagt, Yiu Oisan brachas hamurais b'shvilcha, the emphasis here of Rashi, when he says it's those brachas of your grandfather Avram will be for your sake. V'mifarshim and a mazbek avanas Rashi, as the commentaries actually explain why Rashi is saying this. As v'yiten lecha as birchas Avram meant as agit di brachas up Yaakov. What Rashi is clarifying here is that it's those very brachas of Avram itself that are applying or being given to Yaakov. What are we clarifying by this? Nicht as Yaakov soll gebencht werden mit brachas welche sind ähnliche zu birchas Avram. And it's not that Yitzchak is saying that I am now benching you with similar brachas to what Hashem benched Avram. Was damals kennen die brachas birchas Avram weggegeben werden zu an anderen. So then if that's the case, then the brachas of Avram are still the brachas that remain by Avram, and it could still be given away to one of his other descendants. But rather, Rashi is clarifying now that Yitzchak is telling Yaakov, no, those very brachas of Avram apply to you, are going to be fulfilled and given to you. That's what Rashi is saying. Oysan brachas, it's those brachas that are yours. Now, that could be explained regarding the first line that Rashi adds here. But then the continuation, when Rashi concludes and says, it's from you that this nation will come out, and these blessed descendants, is bloiza kefil. That's just a redundancy. Which is already understood from what Rashi says right before this, that it's those brachas of Avram which will be for your sake. So therefore the question still remains, is something that Rashi is trying to clarify with this elaboration here. Additionally, regarding the Rashi here, we need to understand, Rashi is mefarish diverte birchas Avram. Since Rashi is coming to explain the two words of birchas Avram, what are the brachas of Avram? And Rashi has a reason why what the pasuk here clearly says afterwards is not what the birchas Avram here is. So he's coming to identify what is the bracha of Avram. From pasuk euch dem Wort es. Why does Rashi quote from the pasuk in the Dibur HaMaschil also the word es? As we know, the Dibur HaMaschil of the Rashi is the key to understanding Rashi, and it's very precise, the words that Rashi quotes. So why does Rashi quote the word es over here as well? Okay, so B'kitzer, what's the questions that the Rebbe is asking here? The entire Rashi seems to be extra. That's really the question here, because the pasuk itself tells us what the brachas of Avram, Yaakov is receiving here, to inherit the land. What's forcing Rashi to change this? The brachas that Rashi quotes seems to be not the right brachas. These are brachas that Yitzchak himself got. What's so unique about these two brachas of Goy Gadol and Vizbarcho Bizaracha? We find other brachas that are even with greater abundance. So to explain all of this, we have to really know what's the question that Rashi is coming to address here. That's something that forces Rashi to say that there's a different understanding of what the brachas of Avram are. The difficulty that Rashi is coming to address in this pasuk is as follows. When the Torah erzählt wegen a bracha, we find earlier, anytime the Torah tells us the story about a bracha that anybody has received, there's usually a story about this. There's a reason, there's a cause for why someone is getting a blessing. Or even without the pasuk itself elaborating on it, it's understood from the story why he's getting a bracha. Looking right over here, regarding the bracha that Yitzchak himself, just earlier here, gave to Yaakov himself. As Yitzchak had gesagt, so the pasuk tells us the story that Yitzchak says, I'm getting old and I'm going to pass away. Aseli matam v'gomer, prepare me a delicious meal. Bavot v'recha nafshi b'terem mama, so I could bless you before I pass away. Al derech zeh, by the brachas was the Eibishad gebench Yitzchakim, similar regarding the brachas that Hashem benches Yitzchak, when had gesagt, gur ba'aretz hazais. And this comes after the Eibishad tells him that you should remain here. Don't leave Eretz Yisrael, live in this land. And he tells them, live in this land, this will be yours. And this is in connection to the story, because you wanted to leave, you wanted to go down to Mitzrayim like Avram did when there was a hunger. Similar to the brachas that Hashem benches Avram Avinu after the Akedah, wo steht, as das is Ekev, asher shamata b'koili. Over here we see that Hashem is saying that I'm benching you now with new brachas because of the fact that you listened to what I asked you and you withstood the test of the Akedah. So the question is, benidin die done in our case, aber is in pasuk nit angedated. There's no indication in the pasuk at all. And it's also not something that's self-understood from the story. What's the reason for this additional bracha that Yitzchak is benching Yaakov? Yitzchak already benched Yaakov before, in connection to this, that he says that I'm going to be passing away. And now, he's sending him off to Padan Aram to get a shidduch. And here again, he's benching him. What is this new bracha that he's giving him here? Now, so the Rebbe clarifies, well, he is sending him off to go and get married. So doesn't that deserve a bracha? So now there is a pasuk before that he already benches him that with. Bish, loime de bracha. Now it's understood, the bracha that it says in the pasuk right before. V'kel shakai, yivarech oischa, v'yafrecha, v'yarbecha, v'yisa l'kal amim. And he benches him that Hashem should multiply you, and you should have children, you should have nations that will come from you. So he's benching him with children. So that we understand why he's giving him here this bracha when he's sending him off to go get married. As Yitzchak hat Yaakov geschickt zu Tana Shidduch, since he's sending him to go and get married. Hat der Vater ihm gebencht, as v'kel shaka yevorach oischa v'yafrecha v'yarbecha gaima. So this is the appropriate bracha when he's going to get married, that he should have children. But was for Ashaychis hat aber der mit der Hemshech. But the question over here is this additional bracha that he adds. What's the connection here? So now he says, "V'yitin l'chas birkas avam l'chal ezracha yitach l'rishtecha eretz mugarecha." That I'm giving you the bracha of your father Avram that you will inherit this land. Why is he benching him now about inheriting Eretz Yisrael? Oy birkas Avram meant Yerushas haaretz. If the bracha of Avram here in this pasuk is referring to inheriting the land, balangt das gar zu der friedige bracha from v'yitin l'chal lekim gaime mishmani haaretz gaime. The place where this birkas Avram belongs is in the bracha before that Yitzchak just benched Yaakov, where he benches him that you will have from the fat of the land. So there you should add, this is the bracha of Avram, that Avram was promised that he'll get this land. But das is given the bracha from Yitzchak and Yaakov in B'terem Mamas. That was the previous bracha that he benches him when he says that he's benching him before he passes away. But a bracha in connection to the Shidduch is going to get married. Why now is he benching him with inheriting this territory of Eretz Yisrael? So this is the question that Rashi is coming to address. And this is the reason why Rashi understands that like the bracha of V'yafrecha v'yarbecha, which is a bracha for children, in connection to the Shidduch, there has to be something unique here about what Yaakov is about to experience or do, that he's giving him now brachas of Avram, birkas Avram. What is that birkas Avram that's uniquely connected to this situation and this story that's happening here to Yaakov? The Rebbe is Rashi Mefarish, and this is the reason why Rashi explains as Oich Birchas Avram is a bracha was this b'shaychus some shidduch. That when it says in the pasuk Birchas Avram, this is also a bracha like the bracha that we see in the previous pasuk in connection to him going and getting married. Because this bracha of Avram that's said here is referring to the bracha of being a great nation, having blessed descendants. So this is actually a continuation and spelling out the previous bracha that he mentioned that he'll have children, and now he's saying, and those children will be a great nation, and those children will be very blessed. So this is all in continuation and spelling out the details, going and getting married and taking a wife. And that is haben asach kinder, to have many children, to be a great nation, and to be such children that everybody will bless themselves, to be like these children. So therefore we understand how this fits into the context of the pasuk here. V'yitin l'cha birchas Avram is also a bracha in connection to the Shidduch. Those brachas are quoted from Avram, which are appropriate to Yaakov at this point. Okay, but this is not yet enough. Because, as the Rebbe asked before, Yitzchak himself was benched with these very brachas. Why is he quoting these brachas the way they are, the way Avram was benched with these brachas? So therefore there has to be something additional here that's unique about what Yaakov is going to experience going to get this Shidduch, that these brachas are being quoted dafke from the way these brachas were said to Avram, and not the way it was said to Yitzchak. So it is aber medayik zuzugeben. So here, that is, Yitzchak is very specific in adding dem loshen es birchas Avram. I'm giving you these brachas. I also got these brachas myself, but I'm giving it to you the way those brachas were given to my father Avram. That you're going to get those brachas of Avram are going to be fulfilled by you. Because here, it's not only necessary to have a bracha for a shidduch, to have children, and not just any bracha that was given to Avram, no die bracha hamiyuchedes was given negeya Avram in beyichud. But here, Yitzchak is telling Yaakov he's going to get a specific bracha that was relevant to Avram in a specific time period in connection to a certain experience that he had. Und der Vater ist Rashi euch meitig dem Wort es Avram. Therefore Rashi adds and brings the word es to emphasize that es birchas Avram, that unique bracha that Avram got in that unique situation, is now applicable and relevant for what Yaakov will experience. So what is the unique thing that Yaakov is experiencing here when he's going to get married? Yaakov gedav gein in weg. arain. Kum lech paden aram. Yaakov had to go and travel. As Yitzchak tells him, go, get up and travel, go. So now, if that's the case, that in order for him to find the shidduch, it's not going to just be so easy right here to get married, but he has to go and travel far for a shidduch. So now we know, as derech, as it says by Avram, when the Eibusha tells him lech lecha, that traveling out and away is mematas piriviribya. This causes to minimize a person giving birth to children. On mematas es Hashem, and it also minimizes the good name that a person has where he is. He has to leave that place. The Rebbe Yitzchak Meisluk event. So therefore over here Yitzchak adds and says V'yiten lecha es berchas Avraham, that unique bracha that Avraham received in that kind of situation will be fulfilled now in you. The bracha v'eschel goy gadol is Avraham gegeben geworden b'myuchat zu lieb dem lech lecha ma'atzacha was is memayit piriviribya v'Rashi is dort mefarish. Avraham also received the bracha specifically when he was traveling, and the way traveling minimizes giving birth to children. So now that bracha I'm giving you here when you have to also go and travel for a shidduch. Well, derech zoich by the bracha is borchu b'zaracha, and similar to the bracha that you'll have good children, they'll be benched. That derech zol nit geirim zayin hamamet es Hashem fun zayne bonim. That the traveling from one place to another should not also cause that the good name that his children have should be minimized. So therefore, this is the same brachas of Avram that are going to be fulfilled here by Yaakov. So this is why Yitzchak is not telling Yaakov that I'm giving you the brachas that Hashem benched me with these same things of goy gadol and that people will bench when they're children, because Yitzchak didn't get these brachas in a place of lech, of going out, like it says lech paden aram. That's only by Avram where he got these brachas in this condition of going out. I heard that Rebbe clarifies that these are all brachas in relation to the children. Mashenkin, the brachas was in a negeya im Yaakovin, but the brachas that are relevant for Yaakov himself, Alain, Oichli bracha, as sein Shem soll nit nismayit werden, including the bracha that his good name should not be minimized. Then a nichlal in the bracha was Yitzchak hat him gegeben friya. That's already included in the brachas that he was benched before, when he benches him, when he says, I'm going to bench you before I pass away. But here it's the bracha in connection to the shidduch regarding the children. Elamai, regarding the children, he's saying that you're going to have these children even though you're traveling on the way, and they're going to be good children with a good name even though you're traveling on the way. That's what's unique about these brachas. Okay, so now the Rabbi will explain what's the additional emphasis when Rashi continues and says that those brachas that those brachas will be for you. Why is Rashi adding that? Because here it says Abba the Shaila. Here, when you read this and you see what Yitzchak is saying, that the brachas of Avram are fulfilled in Yaakov. So the Shaila here is as follows: Was is Yitzchak's kavana in benching Yaakovin mit di brachas miyachades from birchas Avram? What is the kavana of Yitzchak when he's saying that those brachas of your grandfather, when he was in the same situation as you, that he had to travel on the way, and that those brachas that he was benched with, I'm giving you now as well when you're going on your way, that should be fulfilled in you. The problem is, the brachas enu l'chayre nit mekuim geworden by Avram and Gufa. By Avram, when he was actually traveling on the road, he didn't have the fulfillment of those brachas. Now, enochanami, as the kavanas of brachas is if la'asid. Now, the intention here of these brachas is for the future. Not that it will actually be fulfilled by Avram himself regarding him on the road, that he'll have many children and it'll keep his good name. But it's a fulfillment, the bracha will be fulfilled in future generations, not in relation to traveling on the road, by the future generations. Wie bald aber, as die bracha is gegeben geworden la Avram, but since, in the simple sense, the original bracha, the way it was set to Avram was, val zayin derech is memayit piriviribya, and it's because for him, now traveling it minimizes having children, but tzitzich the bracha to the piriviribya from Avram atzmai. So doesn't that refer to Avram himself when he has children, that he'll have children even when he travels, und das zet noch in it. And we don't see the fulfillment of this bracha in this context, the way it applies to Avram, that traveling on a road which minimizes children, you will have the fulfillment that you will still have many children even when you're traveling away from home. So yes, there was a fulfillment of the bracha of a goy gadol of Yidden that multiply in the future generations, but how do we have the fulfillment of the bracha in this experience of traveling on the road? But by Avram is geboren geworden ein Sohn von Sarah. By Avram himself, this wasn't fulfilled. He only had one son, Yitzchak. Was dafke be Yitzchak, Yikar l'chazara. It's Yitzchak, which is the true descendant of Avram. Mashenken, Yishmael b'nei Keturah, Yishmael and the children of Keturah do not count. Und wie können wir sagen, als in der Heilade von ein Sohn, Yitzchak, hat sich ausgedrückt die Brache von Piravi Rebbe, was hat bewahren der Miut von Piravi Rebbe durch Derech. So how can we say that the fact that he gave birth to one and only son, that this is the fulfillment of the bracha, that in traveling on the way, it will not minimize Piravi Rebbe, he'll have many, he'll have more children. Well, he only had the minimum, only one child. Well, Derech is similar, Benigei, the bracha, v'hizbarchu b'zaracha, when it comes to the bracha of that your children will be blessed children and he'll have a good name, we don't find this being fulfilled by Avram's own descendants. On the contrary, besides the fact that we're only looking at Yitzchak himself and not the other children, Yitzchak is geboren geworden. Even before Yitzchak is born, is wegen Yishmael gesagt geworden. So if you want to count Yishmael as one of the children, so what does it say about Yishmael? That v'hu yiyeh pera adam, he'll be a wild person. Yodeh bakol v'yad kol boy, he'll have his hands in everybody, and everybody will have their hands in him. Which means hakel sainanayse, everybody will hate him, or mizgarim by him, will fight with him. So this is not at all any fulfillment of a good name. So we don't see the fulfillment of the brachas the way they were said by Avram himself, which is the bracha in this experience of traveling that minimizes these two things that it should be fulfilled in this type of experience. The Rebbe is Rashi Mamshech, so therefore Rashi continues and spells out, Yiyu oisan brachas ha'amurais b'shlucha. Those brachas that were said to Avram regarding traveling on the road is going to be fulfilled by you traveling on the road. Here we see the literal fulfillment of these brachas, not only regarding future generations, that Yidden will become very great and so on, but in this condition of traveling on the road, it'll be fulfilled by you. The brachas, welche sind gesagt geworden an Avram, those brachas that were given and said to Avram, zei atzman will sein zu lieb Yaakov, and those very brachas in this condition of traveling is for the sake of Yaakov's traveling. He also now is going out to travel. It's specifically by Yaakov that it's fulfilled in actuality in this context of traveling. As it was, as by Yaakov in seine geboren geworden, the Yud Beishvatim, that as we see Yaakov while he was away from home, and he was traveling, he was by Lavan, he had the 12 Shvatim, a big family, a large family. In this itself we see already the beginning of the fulfillment and the foundation for a great nation. We see the effect of this bracha, the fulfillment of the bracha in this condition. That although he's on the way and it should minimize having a large family, but nevertheless he has a large family, the Yud Beis Shvatim, very benched children, that is being fulfilled here by Yaakov. That's the reason why Rashi is adding these words, specifically this unique bracha regarding traveling on the road. Based on this, we could say additionally, with this Rashi answers another simple question that comes up in the understanding of the pasuk. Why is it that Yitzchak is sending Yaakov to go and travel himself, to go to Padan Aram and to find for him a wife, to go and take a wife for himself there? And he didn't follow and do like what Avram Avinu did. He sent a messenger. When Yitzchak has to get married, he sends Eliezer to go and bring him a wife for his son Yitzchak. So why is he doing different than his father? Now over here, you may think, well, Yaakov at this point his life was in danger because Esav wanted to kill him, so he had to run away from Esav. That's the reason why Yaakov is leaving. So the Rabbi clarifies, no, because this that Yaakov sends off Yaakov and his geven blois mit the kavanah to tandem dart ashidach. As far as Yitzchak was concerned, he's only sending Yaakov away for one purpose, to go and get married. It's not because his life was in danger because of his brother Esav that wanted to kill him. Because this is something that, in the simple pshat of the pasuk, Rivka was aware about this fight between Esav and Yaakov, but Yitzchak was not. So therefore, why is he sending Yaakov off on a way? Now, and you also cannot say that there's a difference here between Yitzchak and Yaakov, that Yitzchak could not leave. Yitzchak could not go. As Yitzchak's shidduch had gemusst kommen durch a shliach. In the case of Yitzchak, it had to be by sending a messenger. While Yitzchak is given an Ayla Tmima to leave that Akedah, because after the Akedah, Yitzchak is considered to be a carbon, a full carbon for Hashem. And Hatafar nit gekent is gained from Eretz Yisrael, and therefore he's not allowed to leave Eretz Yisrael, as Rashi brings this. Mashen ken Yaakov, hat Yegek kent is gained, but Yaakov could leave. So therefore, Yitzchak tells him go, not because there's anything unique about him traveling and going, but just because if he can, let him go himself. We're not going to send anyone in his place. So that can't be the case. In the simple understanding of the pasuk is nit das given the time v'sibbe was Avram hat nit gewollt losen Yitzchak and gain allein in Aram Narayin. This itself is not the reason why Yitzchak was not sent to go himself for a shidduch to Aram Narayin. Und später ist zu Yitzchak in Isgal geworden as is an Oyla to Mima ve'en chutzelaretz kadailacha. It's only later on in Parshas Toldos, in this week's parsha, is where in the beginning of the parsha, the Eibusher says to him, Gur baretz azayis, that he should not go down to Mitzrayim. But earlier in Parshas Chayesara, where Avram is looking for a shidduch for Yitzchak, there it's not yet mentioned. It doesn't yet say, it wasn't yet revealed to him this point that he's not allowed to leave Eretz Yisrael. Hashem never told it to him. And nevertheless, Avram Avinu is not sending Yitzchak to travel on a way. So now, when Yitzchak is sending Yaakov to go and travel, there must be something that is uniquely good about the fact that Yaakov is going to go himself for the shidduch, that Yitzchak decides, you know what, even though my father didn't do this to me, but I want to give an additional goodness to my son Yaakov, which he will get by traveling on the road. What is that additional goodness of a bracha that Yitzchak wanted to give to his son Yaakov by sending him alone to go and travel to find the shidduch? So the answer to this question, why he decided that he will send him to go alone to Padan Aram, so this is explained by this, that Rashi says here, that what is this unique bracha that Yitzchak is now benching Yaakov with? He's saying that the fulfillment of that bracha to be benched when you travel on the way that Avram was benched with, and it was not fulfilled by him, it's going to be fulfilled by you. Das was der Eibusher hat gebencht Avram, and ve'eschel goy gadol. This that Hashem benches Avram, that you will be a great nation, is given verbunden mit inyan von lech lecha. That's only because of and as a result of and in connection with the fact that he's traveling on his way. Tzilib beschad yahaliche b'derech, because of and as a reward for going on the way. So over here as well, the farat Yitzchak geschickt Yaakov. Therefore, Yitzchak wants to give this additional bracha to now be fulfilled and applied to his son Yaakov. So therefore he tells him, Kum lech paden aram beisa besul gem v'kach lecha mesham. He tells him also, like my father had the lech, he was going and he had schar for this. So now you're going to go in schus von der aliche v'teva kommen die bracha from v'eschel gadol v'zbach b'zaracha. So now because you're going to be in that same condition of your father, and the bracha that my father, that is, Avraham got, was to be benched in this kind of condition and beschar this. So now that you're also going to be traveling for your shidduch, so you're going to get the fulfillment of that bracha by you. That's why Yitzchak decided to send Yaakov to go himself and to travel, lech, to go and to get his shidduch. Okay, but now though, there's something additional over here that there has to be, that Rashi is emphasizing here in this unique bracha, that Yitzchak is benching Yaakov, because Rashi still adds another line, as the Rebbe pointed out before. Why is Rashi adding this? Because now there's still a question about this bracha that we see that Yitzchak is making an effort, that he's dafka sending Yaakov away, so that unique bracha of Eschel Gadol that Avram got in this same circumstance should now be applied to Avram. So this is a unique effort that he wants him to get this bracha. But the question is, why? What's so unique that he's only Yaakov is going to get this bracha? Megefint, Azech Ishmael is gebencht geworden von dem Eibushen mit derselbe bracha. We see that Ishmael was benched with the very same bracha. Berachte Yosef, Freisi Yosef, Beisi Yosef, B'moed Ma'od, that he will multiply, it'll be very many, very great. Shnei Mas and Nesiyim Yeled will give birth to 12 leaders. Nesativ L'goy Gadol, and it'll be also a great nation. Heinten was besteht the Yisra Miyuchad in the bracha to Yaakov. So what is the great advantage that there is in this special bracha that Yitzchak's making an effort to send out Yaakov on his way, that he should receive the same bracha that his father Avram got going out of the way? Noch mehr schwer. Additionally, the question there is was benevuas Hashem is Esav als Goy wird verglichen zu Yaakovin. So the Rebbe is asking before from Yishmael, now the Rebbe is asking from Esav. That by Esav we also see that he's referred to that he will be a nation, and this that Esav will be a nation. His descendants will be a nation. That's similar to a descendants of Yaakov will be a nation, because in the pasuk it puts them together. Shnei goyim. When Rivka is pregnant and she's told that you have two nations that will come from these two children. Shnei le'umim. So what's unique about the nation of that comes from Yaakov that's more than the bracha of Yishmael, Goy Gadol, and Goy that says also regarding Esav? The Rebbe is Rashi Meisiv. So therefore Rashi adds and says, Mimcha yetzei oisei hagoy, v'oisei hazara mavayrach. Yes, Esav and Yishmael will also be a nation, but this unique bracha that Avraham got, and that unique nation, and the unique blessed children will be only from you. Mashenkin the bracha b'shaychus to Yishmael, which is not the case with the bracha that Yishmael gets on Azayach. Das was is gesagt geworden wegen Esav, and also the Esav, this bracha that was said regarding Esav, haben kein shaychus nicht zu der bracha mit welcher der Rebbe hat gebenched Avraham. They have no connection to this unique bracha that Avraham was benched when he was going out on his way, Lech Lecha. That unique schar and that unique level of a bracha, that's the bracha of Avraham that's not going to be given over to Yaakov. That's what Rashi has to continue and say that it's oisei a bracha, that it's specifically that bracha. Don't compare it to the level or the expression of Goy or Goy Gadol that it says by Yishmael or Esav. So this explains the Es Birchas Avraham, why Rashi is explaining that the Es Birchas Avraham refers to the bracha in connection to the shidduch, connection to the traveling, because this explains what's the point of the bracha here. Otherwise, you learn the pasuk and it says that he's giving him a bracha. Why is he giving him now a bracha to inherit the land? He's giving him a bracha in relation to what he's going to do right now. He's going to travel right now. He's going to get married right now. Right now, the bracha that's relevant at this point is the bracha in connection to his children and the unique level of a bracha of children traveling like Avraham that was traveling. But now, based on this, we could also understand the continuation of the pasuk. Al pizeh is moving oich the hemshich v'siyam akosiv. The continuation of the pasuk where it goes on to say another bracha. V'balt as Yaakov geht weg from Eretz Yisrael. Since Yaakov is leaving Eretz Yisrael and boit sein bayis and chutz laretz, he's building a home, a family outside of Eretz Yisrael. Und vader aber die bracha von Goy Gadol ist beim verbunden dafke mit seiner Weggehen bederach kein chutz laretz. And as we see here from the beginning of the pasuk, that the reason why Yaakov is getting this unique bracha of his birchas Avraham is because like Avraham that had to travel away from his home, he is going to get this bracha also only if he's going to be doing similar to Avraham, traveling away from home, to be away far from Eretz Yisrael. Dagegen Esav bleibt in Eretz Yisrael, but Esav remains here in Eretz Yisrael. So you may think that if so, Esav remains in possession of the land in Eretz Yisrael. He remains here and will get married here, and he'll have children that will take possession of the land here. So even if, on one hand, Yaakov is gaining by getting this unique bracha that Avraham got when he was traveling, and now Yaakov is traveling and he gets that bracha, but on the other hand, though, he's losing out. Is Yitzchak Moisev, so therefore Yitzchak comes and adds that even in this detail, you will not lose out either. That you will inherit this land that Hashem gave to Avraham. And v'adarabe v'bald oisam brachas ha'amuris b'shvilcha mimcha yetze oisa agoy v'oisa zera mevayrach. It's because that you're going to be getting that bracha that Hashem originally gave to Avraham when he travels. And now that bracha that was not actually fulfilled by Avraham is actually being fulfilled by you when you're traveling, is moving a pashat as the eretz Asher nasan Elokim la Avraham. So therefore also the land that Hashem benches Avraham with geher dafke onar to Yaakov v'zarei acharav. That's also part of this, that it's now understood that the unique brachas of Avraham are going to be only for Yaakov and his descendants. So as far as the bracha itself is concerned, Rashi chooses to explain the bracha over here that Yitzchak is giving Yaakov regarding what he's doing right now. He's going to get married, a shidduch. He's going to travel right now. So the pshat of his birchas Avraham refers to a bracha that he's giving him that's relevant for what he's doing right now. The continuation of the pasuk is following up that he's not even going to lose out in the detail of the land, even though he's going away, but nevertheless, in order to get the unique bracha, he has to dafka go away, similar to Avraham that traveled, but on the other hand, he's not going to lose out from what remains here, and Esav is going to remain here in Eretz Yisrael. He's not going to lose out by that. Adarabah, he's going to get that bracha because he's the unique descendant of Avraham that's getting that bracha of Avraham, so this also will be his. Zayindig Oise Hagoy Oise Hazera is blois zu sei gegeben geworden der Oretz. Being that he is that unique nation, that unique descendants of Avram, so therefore they will get the land. Now, an additional point that Rabbi will explain here regarding this emphasis that Rashi says here, that Oisan brachos, it's those brachos that Avram got that are given to Yaakov. Nachaninian in the bracha from Yitzchak, another point here in this bracha that Yitzchak is giving his son, Yiu Oisan brachos amurais, b'shvilcha, those brachas that were said will be for your sake. From you will come out this nation and these descendants that are benched. Which is uniquely relevant over here for these brachas of that Yitzchak is benching him, that you will be a great nation and you'll have benched the children. The lashon bracha, v'samti zaracha ka'afara oretz gomer, ad kechochei hashamayim. The other languages that the pasuk says that Hashem tells Avram Avinu that your children will be abundant like the earth, the dust of the earth, or like the stars in the sky, or like the sand by the water. Or what Yitzchak himself over here said, that you will have children. What that expresses is the great number in quantity of children, of descendants, was coming from him, that will come out from him. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you will see the relation and the connection, the fact that those children will be expressing this yichus, this lineage, tracing back to him, to Yaakov himself, as they that they will be carrying his name. You can have a person that has children and then grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and then many, many descendants that come from him, but 2, 3, 4, 5 generations down later, they're not carrying the name of their great-great-great-grandfather. They build their own families, and you don't see the relation back to that great-great-grandfather. So the fact that the pasuk says all these brachas that you'll have descendants that will be as great and as many as the dust of the earth and so on, it doesn't mean that they will be with that connection and with that lineage, that they will carry your name. But what's unique about the bracha that Yitzchak is giving Yaakov from Avram Avinu, that you will be the great nation, versus mudgish. So here, what's being highlighted is as Ali Eladim v'Yitzchak that all children and all descendants they are related to him. As is the Goy Gadol, that it's Yaakov that is becoming a great nation. Meaning all the children are still carrying that name, Bnei Yaakov, Bnei Yisrael. And therefore, it's Yaakov himself that's becoming greater and greater and greater, becoming a great nation. And also the bracha that his children will be benched by all people in the world. That when Yidden are benched and people look and see how great the nation of Yidden are, in what way will this be? They'll be benched as, look at this, look at these children of this unique family that come from Yaakov and come from Avram. Seine Kinder, the Kinder von Avram, being the children of Avram, or in this case, the bracha being given to Yaakov, being the children of Yaakov. So it's not just the fact that your children will be such good people that everybody will look at them and want to bench their children to be like them, but they will be benched and say, wow, look at these children that are unique family that are descendants of Avram and from Yaakov. That's the chiddush over here, and that's why Rashi is quoting Dafka this pasuk. So this is an additional pshat that Rabbi is saying, in addition to the point that the Rabbi explained before, that Dafka these psukim are being quoted here because this is this unique bracha in connection to the traveling on the way, which is not relevant by the Samti Zaracha Kafara Oretz. But over here, another point, that it's going to be the yichus, the fact that the Yidden are a unique nation that are always carrying the name of Bnei Avram, Yitzchak v'Yaakov. Und das ist gewähnt Birchas Yitzchak. V'yitn lecha is Birchas Avram. And this is the unique bracha. The Yitzchak is now benching Yaakov, that you're going to have the same bracha that Avram has, and that's ve'eschol goy gadol ve'izbarchu b'zaracha, that you will be a great nation and your children will be benched. That you oisan brachas ha'amuris b'shvilcha, those brachas that are said for you. Mimcha yetze oisei agoy v'oisei azaram avaydech. It's from you that this great nation and these benched children will come out, which means as there ve'eschol goy gadol, This idea that not only you have many descendants, but also that those many descendants are that you become now the great nation. So this will actually be fulfilled specifically by Yaakov. And as we see how this bracha was fulfilled, as Kol Yisrael, all Yidden, in all generations, werden angerufen Shiftei Yisrael, Bnei Yisrael. They're referred to as the tribes of Yisrael, the children of Yisrael, which is Yaakov's name, Al Shem Yaakov. And also, when all nations of the world see the uniqueness of Klal Yisrael, of Yidden, it's als Kinder von Yaakov. It's all Yidden as one family, as the descendants of Yaakov. That's the unique bracha of his Baruch Hu Bezaracha, Kol Goyei Haaretz. It's Zaracha, that were the descendants of Yaakov Avinu. That bracha was fulfilled uniquely in Yaakov.